Good morning, everybody, on this chilly Wednesday. Uh, we've been talking on this three-part series, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, basically to introduce certain halakhic concepts in kashrus to understand how the hashgacha works on certain products and what the halakhic underpinnings are for these type of products that allow us to eat them. Yesterday, we talked about things such as Ola Shulchan Malachim, what's considered a snack versus what's considered an actual food concerning chocolate. Today, we're going to introduce some other topics. Bitul is fairly well known. Bitul means if there's a minimum amount of a prohibited substance, it's permissible. So in most cases, in terms of kashrus, you're talking if it's 1/60th of an item, it's permissible, but the only problem is it's permissible to eat it b'di'evet, after the fact. There's another klal in halacha, ein mevatlin isur lechatchila. We don't prepare something knowing in advance that there's going to be a prohibited substance in it, even though it's less than the minimum required. So how do we juxtapose those different things? So all of this comes together in a very popular ingredient known as vanilla. Vanilla is the world's most popular flavor. About 75% of commercial vanilla flavor is used in chocolate and ice cream, with the balance used in other food, baked goods, yogurt, coffee, so forth. Vanilla beans, natural vanilla beans, are the second most expensive spice in the world. Saffron is the most expensive. Vanilla is the second most expensive because there's a limited supply, there's a high demand, and the growing and manufacturing process is very long and complicated. Most vanilla flavor in the world today does not come from natural vanilla beans. Artificial or imitation vanilla, which will be the subject of most of our discussion, make up the majority of vanilla that's used in most products. A little history about vanilla. Originally, vanilla beans were first discovered in Mexico. Now they're grown in many tropical areas of the world. Madagascar, the small island of Madagascar off the coast of Africa, is the largest producer of vanilla beans. And of course, being located where it's located, also subject to hurricanes, and that could also affect the supply and cost of natural vanilla. Vanilla beans grow in pods on trees. It takes about 9 months to reach maturity. After 9 months, the green vanilla beans are harvested, and it undergoes a very long curing, I guess you call it, the curing process to develop the taste as well as the smell. There's a hot water treatment that activates a natural enzyme in the bean, which starts the curing process. And over the next couple of weeks, the process hasn't changed very much, the beans are laid out in the sun. And they're wrapped in cloth, and they're packed in boxes. During the day, the heat affects the beans. At night, they sweat in these boxes. Eventually, the flavor begins to develop. The beans turn brown from green. Then they're dried. They're aged for a few months, and the flavor increases. It gets stronger. And then they are exported to extraction facilities around the world where they are milled, ground up, and soaked in a solution of alcohol and water. The alcohol, as we see, will be the problem. During the process, the alcohol extracts the flavor from the beans. The main flavor is known as vanillin, and there are other flavors that contribute to the taste as well. And that is why natural vanilla is stronger than most imitation vanilla flavors. After the extraction, the solids are out, and the natural vanilla extract is packed. Because natural vanilla is so expensive, there's a huge market for artificial flavoring, which may not be as rich or as strong, but it's cost effective, and that's what most ingredients use: imitation vanilla or something similar to that. One way to produce this artificially is through the fermentation of certain carbohydrates, usually sugar with brewer's yeast added to it. And then they add a microorganism along with vitamins, minerals. It's a whole process which metabolizes into a liquid solution known as vanillin, which is then filtered and then, again, washed with alcohol, concentrated, crystallized, filtered again, and then packaged. Now, this artificial construct, according to the FDA, a product like this can be labeled as natural vanilla. It's not. It's artificial, but the FDA says you can call it natural vanilla. You can also produce artificial vanilla by using a petrochemical known as guacanol. I'm not pronouncing it correctly. It's a chemical process that produces vanillin. Again, there's a chemical thing. It's mixed in all of these artificial processes. The problem is they're all mixed with alcohol, and you know, they take out the liquid. There's a chemical process involved. The question is, what's the source of this alcohol? And is it kosher? Another chemical that's used for artificial vanillin is lignin. Lignin is a chemical byproduct of paper that is produced from wood. And you break it down into components chemically, and those components go through an oxidation process, turning it into vanillin, which gives it the vanilla flavor. Again, if you knew how some of these chemicals and flavorings were made, you probably wouldn't use them. I mean, coming from a wood pulp. In any event, the main kashrus issue is the extract from vanilla beans using alcohol. Now, alcohol can be derived from sugar or corn, which is no problem, except for Pesach, perhaps. But it can also be produced from grapes. And here you get into the issue of non-kosher wine, stam yeno. It could also come from wheat or barley, which causes the problem on Pesach. So you have to have kosher. If you're using vanilla on Pesach, which is not always easy to find, it has to have a kosher Pesach label because the alcohol could come from the fermentation of grain, which could be a problem. There are many ingredients involved, and therefore, all of these, whenever you buy a bottle of vanilla, you always have to have a hechsher on it because the alcohol content has to be from a kosher source. Now, we know halachically that when a non-kosher ingredient is accidentally added to a kosher mixture, we can apply the principle of bittul, nullification. If something is bottled, it's less than 1/60th of the finished product, then b'di'evet, after the fact, it can be called kosher. Two other issues, though, that we have to grapple with. One, as I mentioned, we have a rule, ein mevatlin isur lechatchila. The laws of bittul are an after the fact. It's a b'di'evet. It's not a lechatchila. So you can't make a product knowingly that it has something that's prohibited in advance, even though it's less than the permissible minimum or prohibited minimum. Another exception is a halakhic concept known as milsa davida latama. Anything intended to add flavor cannot be nullified as long as the flavor is noticeable. So you have these halakhic concepts to grapple with in order to drink your vanilla-flavored coffee or add vanilla to your baked product. Vanilla is meant to add flavor. It's typically used in small amounts, less than 1/60th. So you might think that the final mixture should be non-kosher because even b'di'evid, it's not bottle. However, the poskim wrestled with this and they came to the conclusion that the actual flavor component of vanilla is from the beans itself, not necessarily the chemicals. Again, if fermented vanilla extract is mixed into a kosher product, it's also permissible. So only the alcohol is part of the processing and it's not part of the flavoring. Therefore, natural and artificial non-kosher vanilla can sometimes be acceptable if it's accidentally used and less than 1/60th. But again, this should not be a lachatchila position. It's only a b'di'evid issue. That's number one. Most of the vanilla that is comes with a hechsher, the alcohol comes from kosher sources, or it could be kosher wine. It could be or non-grape products. Interestingly enough, in Israel, you have an Israeli company that is now growing vanilla beans in tropical greenhouses all over Israel. The only additional issue to raise there, if the vanilla beans are grown during a Shemitah year, or was Orla or Trumos or Masros taken off as with any other agricultural product from Israel, again, it might be nullified because it's less than the prohibited amount of a permissible substance. So the flavor itself is the kashrus issue, not the additives. So all this background goes into the making of what one might think is a simple product on your shelf, vanilla. You go to the store, you buy vanilla, it has an OU or an OK, finished. But the background to that, I think, is important to understand. I will add one other thing, which my wife taught me, and I have to quote her. You can make your own vanilla in a very ingenious way. Buy a vanilla pod. It looks like a buxer. It's a long brown pod. Put it in a bottle of vodka and let it soak for a while. And after a couple of weeks, you will have delicious, natural vanilla flavor that is 100% kosher. It's something I found out. We still have a bottle of vodka in the closet, and every so often when we need natural vanilla flavor, that's what we go to. Okay. Anyhow, any other questions on how we get to use vanilla or vanillin in the manufacturing and the flavoring process? Any questions, comments, critiques? Okay. Again, it's not an exciting discussion, but I think it's an important discussion to understand the background to the hashgacha of certain products that we seem to take for granted. It's chocolate, vanilla. Tomorrow we will get to the strawberry issue, which has to do with the whole issue of insects in vegetables and fruits. That's a fascinating discussion all by itself. The history of that discussion and that debate, which is still going on today. I had a fascinating experience the other week. There's a ShopRite in Fair Lawn that opened up. Does not have many kosher products, nor a kosher section the way the one in Paramus does. My wife wanted me to get some frozen cauliflower for cauliflower soup. I could not find any frozen cauliflower, except in this ShopRite, of all places, which does not have a large kosher selection at all. I found Bodake cauliflower, of all places, which is pre-certified, free of bugs and so forth. It's also 5 or 6 times more expensive, like $10 a bag, which is crazy. But of all places to find Bodake was a ShopRite in Fair Lawn. Very strange. How it got there, I have no idea. In any event, stay warm out there. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Enjoy your vanilla coffee.
Thank you.
As I am doing right now.
Thank you, Wally. Be safe, stay warm, stay healthy.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Oh, so
Thank
thank you, Rabbi.
you.
Bye-bye. Hello, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So long, Janusz.
Thank you. All the best.